I used to think that being average was a fate worse than death. And the reason why I thought this was, as cliche as it sounds, ever since I was a young kid, I wanted to excel. I had this deep need to be better than everyone else in my studies and whatnot, and to succeed, get good grades. And that did stem from the fact that I was afraid of failure. I remember being a kid, if I got shouted at, if a teacher told me off, if I felt like I'd failed at something, not won a competition, been told I'm not good enough for this, I would start crying. I would start bawling my eyes out to the point where my head would start splitting. Then I'd start crying about my headache. And it was just a complete spiral based on the fact that I thought I had not succeeded at something and thought that I wasn't good at something. Now, what did that stem from? I don't know. I was just a very, very sensitive kid in that sense. But I've carried that into my adult life as well. And since learning about improving yourself and self help and all of these things, it has consumed me a bit. And, recently in the last year or so, I've been changing my mind on the idea of being average because I was very outspoken about being average. I thought that being average essentially meant you couldn't be happy. Now, I did accept the fact that a lot of people are happy, in their job and the roles that they have, and they may not be a millionaire and they may not have financial freedom, but they still have happiness in their lives. But I did ignore this and I did say that everyone can succeed, everyone can be exceptional. But the thing is, if everyone was exceptional, no one would be. Exceptional means you are the exception. So if everyone who was average suddenly became above average, and everyone who was above average suddenly became exceptional, it would lose all meaning. There would be no such thing as someone being exceptional because they are no longer the exception. And this is where I just had to come and face the reality that not everyone can succeed in that realm. I think everyone has the ability to be the best versions of themselves, but not everyone is going to. Not everyone thinks the way I do, not everyone thinks the way you do. And the potential you see in other people, as I put in a YouTube post that I found, the potential you see in other people is simply what you would do if you were in their position. Now, that person has a completely different mind to you, a completely different body to you, a completely different outlook on their entire lives and life in general. So maybe they accept being average. I've come across so many people who have just what on the outside looks like mundane, boring, tedious jobs. I've heard them complain about it, yet they're happy. They have a good family. They are rich in the things that actually matter. Like they have a family, they have their health, they have tons of friends, a popping social circle. Even if it means, their bank account isn't astronomical, they're doing all right with themselves because they're a husband, they're a wife, they're a father, a mother, a best friend. They're making meaningful contributions to people's lives. And I refused to acknowledge this. And being the outspoken person I am, I've shot myself in the foot several times and insulted many people because I believed that having a job, being in the 9 to 5 system was terrible. I I've had so many people be angry with me because I essentially just insulted their entire existence. I am personally was very critical, but now I've just realized how wrong I was. Like the 9 to 5 in a system, and this is a lot to do with the media that I was consuming, the people that I was watching on YouTube, saying that the 9 to 5 is bad. Now, I think that if you are unhappy with your job, and I think if you your job takes more than it gives you, then I think you should change your job. Absolutely. I think you should go elsewhere. Even if you're staying in the same sort of career, maybe you need to change up of location, maybe it's your co-workers you don't get on with. Whatever it is, you need to make a change in that sense. Now, does that mean you suddenly need to start making money online and move to Dubai and all these other things? No, of course not. But I was coming from the sense of people, if they're not happy with their lives, if they're complaining about their lives, instead of complaining, they need to do something about it. But now, I've learned a lot of the time that problems are everywhere. There is no job that does not have problems, whether it's working in retail or becoming an entrepreneur. Both jobs have problems. And you may argue that the problems of being an entrepreneur are much more stressful than the problems of working in retail, other kinds of jobs, etc. And you just have to accept that chasing happiness, in the sense of thinking you're only going to be happy if you are above average, if you get that nice car, if you get the beautiful wife, if you keep putting yourself to that metric that being average means you have failed in life, then you're going to fail regardless. You are measuring yourself against a metric that other people have created. This isn't your own metric. This isn't necessarily what you've decided for yourself. Although I said, since I was a child, I wanted to exceed. It's only recently that I've tapped into that because of the YouTube videos I've been watching, the role models I've been following, the inspirational quotes and the books I've been reading. It's only because of external factors that I was thinking like this. And of course, external factors and media and books and TV shows, movies, whatever, will always affect your thinking. Hell, maybe a year from now, I will completely disagree with everything I'm saying in this video. But for the time being, for my present thoughts, I have acknowledged how wrong I was in the past and how judgmental I was and did not understand that average isn't necessarily bad. If you have the desire to be better than you are, that's great. But if you are average, if you have an average job, if you have an average life by everyone else's standards, and you're happy and you feel fulfilled in your life, that is fantastic. I envy you. Because whilst I'm certainly happy in my life, I'm still chasing a kind of fulfillment. But what I thought I didn't want, perhaps is maybe what I need. Maybe I need to go out and experience the world from an average perspective. And if I don't like it, that's fair enough. But maybe I can learn some things about myself that can help me in the future and help me in my development. I hope you've enjoyed that one, guys. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. I will see you in the next one. God bless. And as always, you take very good care of yourself.